Hi guys, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, Crafting Up a Storm. It's the 5 under $5 challenge, and I have 5 wonderful spring projects for you, all costing under $5 to make. More about that collaboration later in the video. For now, let's get crafting. For this first project, I grabbed this Dollar Tree house decor. I used it in an earlier video for a Valentine's Day project, and I'm going to use the back side now so it can just be reversible for Valentine's right into spring. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint the back of the houses with some cashew chalk paint. Once they're covered, I did go in with some rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree in this wood grain. I laid the wood transfer down and rubbed really good with a flat spatula and went around the edges so that the edges really adhered. That's the main thing I want, is to make sure those edges don't peel up. And then I went through and got the whole middle of the transfer after that. Once I peeled it off, I went around the edges with a little bit of an emery board to get any extra off of those edges. Now I have some wooden carrot decoration from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint them from lightest to darkest in kind of an orange. I started with a bit of a yellow orange and went to a darker autumn orange. And now I flipped it over and I put the tape over the carrot part, and I'm doing the tops in light to dark greens. And then this way I have a bit of an ombre effect with these carrots, just like I had on the hearts on the other side. Once those were painted, and I think it was 2 coats each, I glued those onto the front of my little houses, and now I have a cute little spring decor. Let me know what you guys think of this one. For this next project, I grabbed 2 of the Dollar Tree wooden blocks, and one of them I painted with a light pink acrylic paint, and the other one I used a very light beige acrylic paint. Couple coats each. Now I cut out some burlap in kind of some ear shapes. You can see flat at the bottom and pointed at the top. And I'm going to coat those each in some Mod Podge. This is going to allow those ears to stiffen up and stand up so that they're pointing upright and hold up. The Mod Podge will dry nice and clear, but my ears will stand up. Once I had the Mod Podge on, I trimmed away the excess, and you can see I just pinched the flat bottoms of them together and held them with a little grip until that was good and dry, and that way they stayed in an ear shape. So each of them had a little extra at the bottom that was pinched together. I also got out from my stash, I'm using up my stash as much as possible, these felt rose decorations, and I'm going to use those on the top with my ears. I want to go around the blocks to just distress them a little bit, give a little extra dimension. I used just a slightly darker shade of beige to go around. You can see it was extremely subtle. In fact, so subtle that later I'll go around it a little bit more with some antique wax. But just to give a little dimension around the edges of this block and add some distressing. I did the same thing on the pink block with a little darker pink, but it was much more of a difference in color on the pink block. You'll see that it was a much darker pink. Now, I did have a wet wipe handy so that if I got a little too much or I wanted to blur it a little more and not have my brush strokes showing, or lighten it a little bit, I could wipe it away a bit with that wet baby wipe. And you'll see I do that with that antique wax as well too. So this gave me a little more dimension with the antique wax on that beige block. And again, I had a wet wipe ready to help with that distressing so that it was, you couldn't see the brush strokes as much. I did a little antique wax and distressing on the pink one as well, but I wiped a lot of that off. I just kept doing it till I got the look I liked. I bent over one of the bottom portions on the ear and laid that down, and then I bent the other ear bottom portion in the other angle, and I bent that down and glued those together and then made sure they kind of were stuck together in the middle. Now I'm putting that rose in the front of it to cover that up, and that will hide my little bottom of my ears. I grabbed out some raffia and I just tied a few strands in a knot. And then I cut them down to the length I wanted. And now I'm just fringing those individual pieces of raffia so they're a little smaller and look a little more like whiskers. And then that will go down on the front of my bunny. The knot will basically be his nose. And to the top of the knot, I glued a button, and that became the nose of my bunny. Now, a little trick I decided to do and see if I wanted to put eyes, I put down a piece of clear wrapping, like from the package, drew my eyes on to see if I liked the placement of them. That way, if I don't, I just take it off. And I didn't care for it. It went a little piggy once I put the eyes on, and I liked it better without any eyes and just an abstract bunny. But these are how they came out, so let me know what you think of my funny bunnies. The 5 under $5 collaboration challenges YouTube DIYers to come up with 5 projects, all under a theme, and this month it's spring. And these projects need to cost below $5 to make. It's hosted every month on the 5th by Emily at FarmCharmChic. And if you hit that playlist in the description, you will get a ton of inspirational, inexpensive spring DIY decor. Now, I loved the way this project turned out. I picked up this tinsel bunny from Dollar Tree. I did pick it up this year. This wasn't from my stash. I really like the way the bunny is standing up, but I really don't care for the tinsel. So I took a chance to see if I could get this tinsel off, and it actually came off very easy. It was almost just like a layer of it that would peel right off that styrofoam. And once I got it all cleaned off, I now had a styrofoam-shaped bunny that I liked to use to make a faux stone bunny. In order to do that, I grabbed out some baking soda and I added some dark gray paint and a little bit of water. But you can see it's very thick with that baking soda. And I just splotched it on and really pounced to make some good dimension and give that faux cement look. Once it dries, it had a lot of great dimension to it. You can see it dries and then that baking soda really comes out. Now, to add some dimension to the actual stone, I'm going to use some light beige. And I pounce that all over with a sponge. That leaves me that dark in the crevices. I went over that with some gray paint. And then I even went back over all of it with some of that dark paint again. And I just kept adding layers until I felt like it looked like stone. And here's that gray going back over that darker gray going back over that light gray. And at that point, I felt like I had a good stone look. Once everything was good and dry, I went over it with a good coat of Mod Podge. That's going to help that stay and give it a little bit of a sheen. I popped a ribbon on its neck. And to carry on with the theme that I'm going for, I popped a button onto that ribbon. And that's it. I thought it was really cute. And it goes really well with those moss covered decorations. What do you think? Here I grabbed out some more from my stash. These are some little bird ornaments that I got from Dollar Tree, probably last year. I glued them all together and I sandwiched a craft stick in between a couple of the layers, just one craft stick, and I covered the front and the back with some wallpaper. I'm going to paint the edges with some antique wax and then go around the edge of the bird with some antique wax to give it kind of a chippy look. And now I have it standing up. In order for it to stay standing up, I'm going to glue some craft blocks to the bottom, and I put one on each side of that craft stick. And then now I'll put one on each of the other side. Kind of make a little stand for it. Once I had that done, I'm going to cover that stand with some moss. I believe it's reindeer moss, that green soft moss. And to that, I just glued that moss down, and then I trimmed away any excess, and then I glued the excess back on, and then I trimmed away, and I just kept doing it till I had those blocks completely covered. I used a floral bunch from Dollar Tree, and I cut off the flower parts and glued those to the bottom. I used a few of the long leaf stems as well too, or the thin leaves. And that was it for my springy bird. I just kept adding flowers on both sides, so it's a reversible. You can see it from either side. Great for a tiered tray. And that was it. What do you guys think of this one? Very easy. This was another super easy project. I had these carrots in my stash. They were a garland. You can see they have holes at the top that the twine was looped through. But I'm going to add some dimension. I grabbed my autumn orange paint, but it still wasn't quite dark enough, so I added a little bit of brown. I believe terracotta I added to it. And I am just kind of flecking the paint onto the carrot. I don't want it solid. I just want to add some dimension. Once I added the paint, because I really ruffled up all of those little hairs on these carrots, I did go in and burn that off. I do have water nearby, so be real careful. But I kind of cleaned it up real good. And then now I want to add those lines and make these look much more realistic carrots. Still rustic, but a little more realistic. And so I grabbed a brown acrylic pen and I'm just making lines. No rhyme or reason, just random. I just made shorter, smaller lines toward the bottom of the carrot. And then at the top of the carrot, I did more longer lines and a little more spaced. And once I had the carrots completely done, I wanted to kind of glue them together to make a bunch. So I glued 3 of them side by side. And then to the top of those 3, on the in-between, I glued the other 2. So I used 5 carrots in all. I don't remember how many came on this garland, probably a few more than that, and I just didn't use them all. So now I have my bunch, and I'm going to take some twine and wrap it around that bunch of carrots, try and keep it as straight as possible, and just looped and looped and looped and looped. And then to the top of that twine, once I had it looped as much as I wanted, I glued that end piece then to the bottom of those 3 carrots and tacked that down. And then I did a very loopy twine bow to the top. I popped a button in the middle of that bow. Let me know what you think. Here are all 5 projects together. Let me know which one in the comments was your favorite and which one you might like to make. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you would give this video a thumbs up, that helps my channel. Get it out there to everyone to see. And if you are not part of the Crafty family here at Craftin' Up a Storm, I'd love for you to subscribe and be part of our family. Have a great day.